Oh my God. The revelations, the answers. We learned so much, more than we learned that Goldie Roger laughed at the One Piece and he called the last island Laugh Tale. We learned so much in these 10 chapter flashbacks. It's insane. But the biggest answer is if Shanks, because we know he's a badass, he let his arm get bitten off by that sea beast, because we know Shanks was the Emperor of the Sea. Even in the beginning of One Piece, he was a badass. There is no way that monster would have just bit out Shanks' arm and he wouldn't have taken care of it while still holding Luffy in the water. Shanks let that happen, and now we know why.
Line, searching for One Piece, the treasure that would make their dreams come true.
Yo! Dreaming. Don't give it up, Luffy. Don't give it up, Solo. Don't give it up, Nami. Don't give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Here's how the story goes. We find out about a treasure in the Grand Line. There's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing. I'll be king of the pirates. I'm gonna be king. His name is Luffy. That's Monkey D. Luffy. King of the pirates. He's made of rubber.
How did that happen?
Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum. His name's Zolo, he's just like a samurai and a Lady. Nami's not shy. Usopp's doing that marksman thing. Sanji's cooking, Chopper's doctoring. Set sail for One Piece. It's the name of the treasure in the Grand Line. Set sail for One Piece.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm going to be your host, Shinry, here at the Everything Anime Podcast, talking from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and all on top of what I talk about. Today's video is on the last 3 chapters of One Piece. Again, I've been forgetting the numbers lately, so I'm not going to quote the numbers. But, again, we now know the reason why Shanks let his arm get bit off, and we also learned some other crazy major things. I had to start off with, Warp and Roger did not kill Rocks. They did, however, knock that Omniverse demon shit out of him by canceling out his haki. So we now know that we can save Doggy, Bori, and all the other giants. We kind of already knew Luffy would do that, but now we know how to take him out of them. You got to knock out, you have to overpower and cancel that other conqueror's haki. They did knock the devil out of him, but Gorp and Roger, they were so exhausted, they passed out. That took all of their energy just to do that. Emu's overbearing power was able to return himself to normal at the cost of their exhaustion. However, Rock still died that night, but it was at the hands of St. Summers, St. Killingham, and St. Gerald. St. Gerald, because Shanks Shamrocks was still a child. And they finished off Rocks in their stead. But Rocks was still grateful that Gorp and Roger were able to stop him. They were able to save his wife and kids. He didn't have to kill them. And he didn't have to go out killing anybody else. He didn't have to go on being a slave. Thought that was really cool. And, of course, Roger and Gorp couldn't stop the Holy Knights because they were tired and exhausted. But if Gorp and Roger could have stood up, them Holy Knights would have been down too, bitch. Okay? And with that, the God Valley incident was erased from history. Obviously, this is why Gorp is known as the hero of the Marines. But we're going to get to that. We go through a couple things in this next panel. One, Shanks was on Roger's ship sleeping in a treasure chest. One Piece film rate is confirmed. As Oda said, One Piece film rate is canon. Roger did find Shanks in a treasure chest the same way Shanks found Yuta in a treasure chest. It was a full circle moment, as I love to say. Roger and Gorp were saved by, I think Roger was saved by Rayleigh, and then Scopper Gavin saved Gorp. Even though he's an enemy of the pirates, they know that Roger respected him and that they fought alongside of them. And even though Roger's pirates don't kill people that they don't feel like they are necessary, just like Luffy's crew doesn't. So the Roger pirates gave, him back to the Marines, and then, Scopper Gavin went back with Roger's crew. Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard started their own crew now, so they all set off to sea. It's still not confirmed how Whitebeard came across Teach yet. That might be a Teach flashback we'll get to, because we know Ares is still alive out there somewhere at this point. So there's still something to be solved there. Dragon went on to become a revolutionary. He ended up leaving the Marines. Oh, no, what? Not yet. Dragon gets locked up by the military, and then Gorp's going to save him later. He's going to release him from jail. Ivankov, his right-hand man, and Bartholomew Kuma, they escaped off onto their own island using, Kuma's pawpaw fruit. We get to see them together in the panel. And then, like I said, teaching Ares are out there somewhere. We just don't know where they are yet. And then one day, Roger woke up and found Shanks in the treasure chest. Again, this is where it happens, where One Piece film right becomes canon. I really like this because I had noticed it was just more like you had an interpretation, when Shanks thinks about how he found Yuta in the treasure chest, he has that flashback to Roger finding him in the treasure chest. It's like a very cool scene. And I was like, oh, that's how Shanks joined Roger's Pirates crew. Because we know he's not the son of Goldie Roger. That's Ace. And we know Buggin' and Clown and him are not really related, but they were on the same crew. I think at one point they refer to each other as brothers. But it could be like how, you have a brotherly bond with somebody, Because I would consider Zoro and Sanji brothers, basically. Like how they act like siblings and shit. Meanwhile, Gorp was pissed that the papers lied that he killed Rocks. Despite the world cheered and revered him as the hero of the Marines of this incident, Gorp was pissed. He's like, this is all lies. How dare News Morgan run with this? How dare you go along with this Sengoku? You know I did not kill Rocks. You know me and Roger shopped him together. And Gorp's like, Sengoku's like, hey, the world can't know that you teamed up with Goldie Roger. They can't know. Well, they do know that you and Roger teamed up to take down Rocks, but they can't know, the other shit that went on, the manhunt. They can't know about Emu. They can't know about the celestial dragons. They can't know about the fucking demonic demons, We gotta keep the world oblivious. We gotta keep the world thinking that we're heroes and the pirates are evil. Which, on the surface, black and white, sure. But there's some gray in there, There's some good pirates like Luffy. There's some bad pirates like fucking, Blackbeard's crew. There's some good Marines like Kobe. There's some bad evil Marines like Akainu. There's some gray in there. But black and white, Sengoku's like, hey, you gotta play the part. We're the heroes, they're the villains, just go along with it. Sengoku tells them basically to stay low and go along with the world government because they paid News Morgan a hefty price to keep his trap shut. Because like News Morgan said, if I disappear, bitch, everybody gonna know what's going on. You think I got tea on you? I got tea on. Oh, yeah, I got tea. I got my hands in everybody's pockets. I control the underworld, okay? Everybody knows that whatever News Morgan's publishes is, the truth, the tea, the word, the Bible, but not literally, but they live by it, So he's like, hey, we had to pay News Morgan to keep quiet. Don't you run your mouth, Gorp. You're the hero of the Marines. Accept it, live in it, revel in it, whatever. We then see Sengoku is the kind of man Sengoku is the man I thought he was. He was aware of the Celestial Dragons. He was aware of the Manhunt. He was aware of the Holy Knights, and possibly even Emu. He might even know about Emu sits on the throne, the empty throne, the throne that no man is supposed to sit on. Sengoku possibly knows about that. But he chose to look the other way to keep his position. Sengoku's like, hey, look, I'm aiming for Fleet Admiral position. I'm trying to be in charge of the Marines. Maybe one day I can change it from the inside like you, Gorp. But, I got my way of doing things. You got your way of doing things. I feel like if I keep quiet, keep my head down, I keep my spot. Gorp, you're going to ruin your chances of being in the Marines. You lucky Emu didn't kill you. He even asked Gorp if he will quit the Marines now that he knows the truth. But I also thought that Gorp would quit the Marines, but we also know in present day, Gorp is currently, training a new generation of Marines. He, trains Kobe. He trains, Axe Hand Morgan's son. I forget his name. The goofy one with the bandana over his eyes or whatever. And he also wanted to train Aokiji to be good, and he has his own organization currently called Zord. So we know Gorp didn't leave the Marines, and he wanted Luffy and Ace to join the Marines. So Gorp still also hadn't changed. Gorp knows the truth, but he's like, I'm not leaving the Marines. I'm gonna stay in here so I can keep I can train the future Marines to be good, to actually do what we're supposed to do. Stop the bad pirates, let the evil pirates go. Because, again, Gorp never captured Roger. He knew Roger wasn't actually a bad dude. He fought Roger because Roger's a pirate, but he never actually went and intended to capture Roger. We also learned in this flashback that Loki admires Nika. So as a boy, I was like, as a boy, he's in for a surprise in the future when he finds out Luffy is Nika. When he sees Sun God Luffy or Sun God Nika as Luffy. And his gear fifth form, as you can see behind me. And the reason he was so obsessed with joining Rox's crew is because he believes that Rox is Nika. Because Rox always laughs and destroys shit. He's like, it's said that Nika, the sun god, will destroy the world. He's like, Rox, you out there to destroy the world. So yeah, I want to join you. You're the guy that everybody talks about. You're the sun god. Oh yeah, I want to team up with you. But Rock tells him he doesn't know who Nika is, and he doesn't know anything about Nika, but he says it's not him. However, if anyone can destroy the world, he says it's going to be King Harold, as King Harold has the power to awaken the Gallia. This is the second or third time it's been confirmed we heard about these powerful powerful crew of giants that are shipwrights. And again, we don't know much about the Gallia. We just learned about it this arc in Elbaf. So I'm assuming, King Harold had the power to command them, just like, Princess Odahime, or Hime. Is that her name? No, Odahime was the mother. It might be. I think Orihime is the name of that giant fish princess, the one that's like King Neptune's daughter and Odahime's daughter, Queen Odahime's daughter. But she has the power to summon the underworld beast, the sea beast. So possibly King Harold would not be locked up in Wano, would he? Because I think Orihime is Pluton. Could the Gallia be the weapon of the land and Imu be the weapon of the sky? We know that there's 3 ancient weapons. We know one of them's name is Pluton. We know one of them is hidden on Wano. I'm curious if King Harold is on Wano. Would that make sense? I don't know. We know one of the weapons is on Wano, though. We know that. We don't know the name of it, but we know it's in Wano. And we just left Wano. And we never found out what that weapon was. I don't know. Anyways, meanwhile, King Harold was traveling the world fighting with other giants who terrorized humans because he still believed that one day the world government will allow giants to team up with them and welcome them into society. And King Harold, there is so much tragedy you're about to go through. I feel very sorry for you, man. You're about to go through a lot in a few chapters, including your sons. And while he does this, he weeps because he couldn't help his best friend Rox. And because he didn't help him, he believes that that's why Rox died. He now blames himself for not helping Rox back on God Valley. If King Harold was there, Imu would never have control of Rox. Imu probably would have died, especially with Big Mom, Kaido, Rox, Gorp, and fucking Whitebeard, and King Harold attacking Imu at once. Oh, Imu would have been obliterated. So now he blames himself and is seeking peace for his nation of Elbaf. So, and we know that's been King Harold's dream anyway, but I do like that, like, even though he wasn't there, it's still, like, because he was Rox's best friend. He was Rox's only friend, probably. So I like that, like, he felt for, like, Rox. I'm glad we got that emotional moment. I'm glad Oda showed it to us. That's some really powerful writing right there. I like that was there. Dragon, however, we learned was in prison for treason. This is where we learned that. And he hated Gorp for choosing to remain with the Marines, and that's when he decided to quit. He's like, Dad, how can you still be with the world government after seeing what the Celestial Dragon is? How can you be with the world government after seeing those demons and monsters and them kidnapping, killing innocent people? Like, how can you stay in here? And again, we know Gorp's reasons. Dragon doesn't know his reasons, but we know Gorp's reasons. But Gorp, being the good man we know he is, he sets his son free. He gives him a key. He's like, I know, you can hate me. You can want to leave the Marines. I'm fine with that. But here's the key to your freedom. Get out of here. Really fucking love that. And then came the day. King Harold went to the world government. Before he left, he told his first love, Ida, that he loved her. Both his sons at the same time, Loki and Harjo. And he's like, I love you both. Take care of your mother. Because he sees Ida as Loki's mother as well. And he's like, I want to someday restore Elbaf to its rightful place. And the only way I can do that is by leaving here and going to the world government and asking them to make me a part of the world government. I will do whatever I want to. But you guys take care of your mother together. Really fucking love that, because it's just confirmation that Harjo and Loki both got that confirmation and love from their father unconditionally. But this is the start of another big twist. King Harold surrendered himself to Imu for a chance to allow giants to world government. He rips off his horns and says, Imu, I'll make me a slave. I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you tell me to. And he's the only giant, according to Rox, that can control the Gallia, that can control the shipwright of giants that could probably destroy the world. And he's not only that, he's the strongest Blackbeard. We know how, strongest Rocks. And we know how strong Rocks is, and he scared Emu to begin with. And he's now just giving himself up to Emu. I was like, oh, God. Some other crazy twist is going to happen. But it was crazy that King Harold just gave himself up. And so I had a theory, and this is what my theory was. The start of it, that King Harold could be in Wano. Could King Harold somehow still be alive? That was the start of my theory, that maybe he's in Wano somehow. I don't know that for sure. But if the Galilea are the weapon of the land, just like Orihime is the weapon of the sea, and if we know there's a weapon of the sky, which probably Emu has, the three ancient weapons, could he be in Wano? I don't know. Before we get answers to that, we are moving on. We learned something about the Florian Triangle, which is, basically the Bermuda Triangle. Oda throwing new things at us, even like 33 years ago into the past. 5 years after the God Valley incident, all around the world, people reported seeing a giant monster coming from the mist. That giant monster was actually King Harold. I thought we were going into like another twist with like, Skypiea and like the giant cloud monsters, which are really just like an illusion that they get when you're too close to the island. But in truth, yes, the monster was King Harold. But because people had never seen or heard of giants before, outside of the ones Elbaf introduced themselves to, there was an argument with the world government that if they served them for 1,000... so the world didn't know about them. But the world government was like, hey, if you serve us for 1,000 years, killing pirates and, stopping them, any pirates you come across, just like take them out, King Harold, we'll let you join the world government. And we know that this is a lie because we heard this a million times. With the two giants that protected Water 7, they were told like, hey, we got your crew in here. You serve us for 100 years. We'll let them go. We heard this from the one that been captured, Harjuan, who was captured by, Doflamingo. He was like, you serve me, I'll let you go. I'll let your people go. The giants, Dari and Boggy were tricked into a fight by, it was intervened by the, Baroque works. So, we've seen giants trick constantly in One Piece. So we know that Emu obviously is lying. We know that already. Meanwhile, over the next 10 to 20 years, Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard, Shiki the Golden Lion, again, watch One Piece Strong World. Shiki the Golden Lion was a part of the Rock's crew. And all the One Piece movies are canon in some kind of way, but One Piece Strong World is a great movie to start with. But anyways, they all began making names for themselves, causing chaos all around the world. But the one who became the most famous or infamous in the world is the one who traveled the whole world, Gold D. Roger. And among them, we can see an older looking Shanks, a Buggy the Clown. They're probably about 10 years old or something like that. But we know Buggy the Clown and Shanks did not see the One Piece because Buggy the Clown got sick before they went to the last island, Laftel, and Shanks stayed behind to take care of his best friend / brother. So that's why Shanks never seen a One Piece, and neither did Buggy. But could you imagine a Buggy the Clown and Shanks have seen a One Piece, and now they're still acting like that? I think they'd be totally different if they saw what the One Piece was. But I do like that they were that close to it. They were that close to seeing it. And Goldie Rogers' crew never told them what they saw. Anyways, the same day that Goldie Rogers was executed, he gave that incredible speech about the One Piece that started off the Great Pirate Era. The world government recruited more giants into the world government, hoping to combat the pirates. Because, remember, when Goldie Rogers said his famous speech, I can't play it because they'll get copyright striked. But basically, how does it go? There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung up from the gallows, these were the final words he said. My fortune is yours for the taking, but you'll have to find it first. I left everything I own in one piece. And ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for One Piece, the treasure that would make their dreams come true. That shit. That set off the Great Pirate Era. And so the world government, Emu, recruited more giants. They're like, hey, we need more help taking out these pirates. And you giants are strong. So they let them join the world government. And at the same time, just 20 years ago, King Harold was allowed to join the Holy Land, Mario. Now, so he had only served the world government for about 13 years, I guess, because we're 15 years into the past now. 18 years. 33 minus 18, 15. Yeah, about 18 years. King Harold had served the world government as, like, the only giant taking out these pirates across the world. But when there was too many pirates, when the Great Pirate Era started, that's when they were like, oh shit, no, we need you out there, Rock. We need you out there. Come on, get out there, get the killing. Then the disgusting celestial dragons obviously wanted him as a slave, and you can't refuse a celestial dragon. The celestial dragon saw King Harold. They're like, oh, I want him as a slave. He's mine. He's mine. You can't refuse a celestial dragon. But I'm assuming because he's a holy knight specifically, or he had been made a holy knight, the celestial dragons can take him because you can't refuse a celestial dragon. We've seen what that does. They can call for your execution no matter what level or rank you're at. We then get even more lore from Oda as King Harold is brought before the Gorosei, the 5 elders, where he is called a devoted blade, probably like the 7 warlords or the sea or a holy knight. No, I don't. No, holy knights are different. A devoted blade means like we can use you as our weapon, or you'll be called out before the holy knights, or the holy knights can command you, but you're not a holy knight yet. So he was just under that. He was called a devoted blade. But then we learned there are 3 levels below Emu. The Shadows Covenant, the Depths Covenant, and the Abyssal Covenant. We've never heard of this before. I don't know what any of these mean. Again, Oda, you're throwing new terms at us all the time, and I love it. I love it. Give us more lore, give us more lore, give us more lore. I'm going to keep you up to date as much as I can. But King Harold is just like, once I met Emu, or what they refer to as the true guy, giants can finally join society. He also recognized that Emu sat on the empty throne. He was like, what is he doing on the empty throne? I love that everybody knows in this world what the throne means. No one is supposed to sit. The 20 Zords in the ground represent that kings do not rule over each other. The 20 kings made up the world government. And that's why the throne is supposed to be empty. The empty throne. The throne that kind of represents, Game of Thrones, basically. Like, no one's supposed to sit on this throne. But Emu's sitting on it, declaring himself God, declaring himself the king of the world. And you're not supposed to do that. And the Gorosei are like, oh yeah, you can join the world government, once you become a devoted blade, sure, they gonna lie to you, of course. They're gonna be like, yeah, all the giants, they can join society now, yeah, whatever, it's cool with us. Lying at their fucking teeth. King Harold was even allowed to meet St. Garland, St. Shamrock, St. Summers, and the Holy Knights, and join them in the land of Sangria, pending he doesn't admit what he sees and goes on there. They're like, hey, you're a holy knight now. Now that you're a devoted blade, or now that you're at the level of a holy knight, do not say what you see here. Do you see celestial dragons riding slaves? Don't mention it. Do you see them beating and killing people? Don't mention it. Whatever happens here, you don't say shit. You keep it to yourself. 20 years now in the past, King Harold was sent to meet King Harold went back to meet his best friend, King Neptune, who he had met when he traveled the world. We knew that in the previous past when King Harold was, trying to help Elbath by traveling the world and stuff like that. And he was looking for help for Elbath and learning the trade. Neptune had once asked that they join their kingdoms together in union, and that his son, Prince Loki, would be in an engaged marriage with Princess Shirahoshi. That's her name, not Orihime, Shirahoshi. Her mother's name was Orihime. The princess's name was Shirahoshi. And I thought this was another great callback because I think Shirahoshi was trying to be proposed to by Vander Decken the 6th or 3rd or whatever like that. He kept saying, like, Princess Shirahoshi, marry me. And she was just like, you're not my type. She wouldn't even care. She wouldn't even care. He's been trying to kill her all her life. She's just like, you're not my type. So I like, and also Shirahoshi's a giant, Loki's a giant. So I kind of like that. That is another full circle. Shirahoshi is in a prearranged marriage with Prince Loki, King Harold's son. That is a pretty great callback, Oda. I love your... I don't know if you ever thought that planned it out way ahead of time, but that is a great callback, Oda. Claps to you. Claps to you, man. The same year is when Robin and Saul fled the Marines, and Saul came to Elbath seeking sanctuary, and King Harold asked in return, Saul, open a school here, teach kids how to learn, and teach them about the world and the stuff you found out about there. And yeah, you're welcome here. You're a giant. Elbath is open to all. Saul, don't worry, I'll protect you. I'm a part of the world government. They'll let you go. They'll let your crime slide, And then we go 15 years to the past. We're getting very close to the incident of King Harold's death. And by the end of this review, we're going to be at King Harold's death and how it happened and why it happened. At this time, the legendary Fisher Tiger, the man who escaped merry hosts and fled the slaves. And I remember this callback way back in One Piece Film Gold. Again, this is why the One Piece film are kind of canon in some way because they kind of reference the show. But also, this is how, Boa Hancock and her sisters escaped. This is how Arlong and his crew escaped. And then, they met, what is her name? Do I have it in here? Koala. The one who just uses, Fishman, Karate, the little girl that joined the Arlong Pirates on the Sun Pirates crew, because Jinbei was part of that crew. Fisher Tiger was the captain of the Sun Pirates when they escaped. Arlong, Jinbei, and Arlong's whole crew, and then Koala was there. She snuck on board, and they were afraid of humans at first, but a human saved them along with Fisher Tiger. So they managed to escape. But 15 years ago is when Fisher Tiger had escaped. And we learned during the escape that he ran into one of the Holy Knights. But what we didn't know here is that it also was Shanks. Shanks saved the slaves. Shanks allowed the slaves to escape Marios. We learned that Shanks organized that shit. And I think I might have skipped over something, so I'll go back to it. Oh, no, we learned something later. But yeah, Shanks was in Mario's satellite. He saved the slaves. He let Fisher Tiger and all the slaves escape. He cut the chains on Fisher Tiger off of him so that he could escape, so no one could hold him back. Whew. Just exciting shit. I fucking love it. And then it's confirmed to be Shanks the next day, because the following day, King Harold is introduced to St. Garling's son, Shanks and Shamrock. So we get to see Shanks for the first time, and like it's Holy Night Gorb and shit like that. And Shamrock's like, "Oh, welcome back, brother, after 16 years. So we can assume Shanks is 16 years old at this point. But yes, we can confirm that it was Shanks is 16 years old at this point, and that it was Shanks that saved Fisher Tiger and the slaves that night, because if it was the other Holy Knight, if it was Shamrocks, they would have killed them slaves. Fisher Tiger would have never got out of there. But because Shanks was there, that's how we know that they escaped. And we know Shanks is a good person. He was raised by Goldie Roger. He probably went back to Marios after Goldie Roger died, or like took some time after Goldie Roger died and went back. So I love that. And then the brothers reunite again after 24 years old. King Harold, and then the brothers reunite again at 24 years old. Oh yeah, so I think it's like 24 years old. Shanks is at this point. That's what it was. I think I mixed up my ages. I think I was like mixed up something about. They're 24 years old, and like his brother's like, "Oh, welcome back after 24 years. I'm so glad that you left that wretched normal world and normal society with all them freaks and stuff like that." King Harold seems to have met Roger at one point, though I can't remember where, because he recognizes Shanks. But Shanks is obviously playing it off. He's like, "Don't talk to me, you scum, you piece of filth. I'm a higher level than you, higher rank than you." And he calls him scum. But you can see in like Shanks' eyes, like he's disgusted by his own words and what he's saying, because Shanks doesn't talk like that. So we know that something's going on there. And even King Harold knows something's up with Shanks, but he's like, I've met this boy before. He's never acted like this before. But he's like, he must have his reasons. I'm not going to call him out on that. So I do like that they have some kind of relationship, like, Roger and King Harold in some way or capacity. Maybe they went to Elbaf. I think they might have been on Elbaf. I might have been forgetting something. But I do like that they ran into each other. We didn't flash back to Elbaf where we learned Edith was getting sick, but there are no good doctors up on the island. They want to ask King Harold for help, but they know he's busy, so they're doing things for the Holy Knights, and he's trying to help giants become a part of the world government. So Edith's like, no, don't bother him. Like, he's doing great work. He's doing everything he can to get Elbaf and giants recognized by the world government. She's like, it's fine. I'll be fine. Edith says she's just content with opening her bar and greeting pirates from all over the world, as she believes it's also her way to show humans like King Harold that they're kind. Really love Edith. Edith's such a great person. She's way better than Ares. Oh, not Ares. Whatever the fuck evil celestial dragon queen of Loki, mother of Loki was. She's way better than that bitch. Ida, I think. No, Ida, not Ida. I'm getting all the names, but there's a lot of characters, okay? I also love that every time King Harold returns to Elbaf, he asks Elder Giants to make Ida his wife because he loves her. And, the elders are like, no, because they want royalty. That's why they chose the Celestial Dragon, the mother of Loki, to be the queen, because they didn't want somebody with non-royal blood to be the queen. And we learned something very dark at the very end of this as well. Also, I love that in her own way, she loves both of her sons, Loki and Harjuin, who, despite she hated the Celestial Dragon, Estrid, that was the name of the woman, Estrid, hated that bitch. But Loki would bring her food from the underworld. Loki would be like, he would go capture some evil monsters in the underworld. He'd be like, hey, how about this would be good food for mom? Whereas Harjuin and his crew set out to sea looking for a doctor. So I like that both of her sons, again, because she sees Loki as her son. Ida sees Estrid's son as her own. She sees Loki as Harjuin's brother. So, and I love that. I love that. She's such a great woman. Ida's such an amazing woman. That's why I hate that they killed her off. But we obviously know Ida's going to die because I assume that she would die while the three of them are gone, like while Loki's gathering food, while Harjwin is out at sea looking for a doctor, and while King Harold's doing like the Lord's work to get giants into the world government. I assume that she would die before then, but it's still sad, but I like how that she wasn't alone when she died, and we're gonna get there. But as we learn the truth, I only had to wait one page more. Ida wasn't naturally sick. She was poisoned by disgusting giant villagers who refused to have a non-royal queen of Elbath, so they poisoned her. They poisoned Ida because they couldn't have Estrid. They're like, oh, no way. I don't care if King Harold's in love with this bitch or not. In love with this woman or not. We're going to make sure she dies. We're going to make sure a royal queen becomes the queen of Elbath. We're not going to have some old person or some person from non-royal blood be our queen. And in return, and mad respect to Loki, he burned that fucking village. He killed all them villagers. He's like, how dare you kill the only mother I've ever had. This confirmed Loki's a good man. This confirmed, without a doubt, Loki is good. Harjwin has a wrong idea of him. Like Luffy thought he's a good person. Loki got vengeance for his mother. Love that shit. Whew. I get so excited when I read these chapters. Meanwhile, King Harold's dream was becoming known. Unbeknownst to King Harold, I don't think he knew that the villagers poisoned his wife. But his dream was coming true. People around the world began respecting giants. The world government had shown, the giants were real and they were part of society. And because giants were fighting pirates to protect them in the Marines, and giants were trading food with them and spreading their culture, people loved them. They were trying to get their hands on that new hot commodity of food from Elbath. They're like, oh, you got some Elbath spices? They're like, no, man, we're sold out. People love them. People began to love giants. They began to respect giants. And it's kind of like what King Harold wanted. So in a way, Emu kept this promise. In a way. But Emu, we know his ass is evil. He got some shit up his sleeve. This is also the start of Elbath's warrior change as people began to seek coexistence with humans rather than fight and pillage. We know Dory and Bragi, they were still pirates fooling through. They're 100-year pirates, the 100-year giant pirates. They were still out pillaging and fighting and shit. But King Harold and the giants of Elbath, they were welcoming humans. They were like trying to help humans and sharing, like I said, sharing culture and stuff like that, sharing trade. They're like, no, we're no longer gonna be warriors. We're no longer fight. Saul, teach them about school. Don't teach them about fighting with swords. They were changing their whole ways. King Harold meant what he said. The ending of giants fighting is over. Like, we're gonna teach them to like just be friendly. And the children in the school were learning more about the human world thanks to Saul and less about fighting with shining swords. Oh yeah, I already talked about that. And in truth, maybe this is all for Ida because she was his first and only true love, and for the wicked people of Elbath that killed her because they didn't want her as their queen. But he still fought for peace for her and their children. Oh yeah, so basically, King Harold was doing this because, he promised Ida, like, he would make things better. And Ida was doing the same thing. She had a bar that she welcomed humans to her bar. And, she was showing that giants are friendly and that anybody's welcome to Elbath. We faced no barriers getting in Elbath. We faced no trouble, no enemies, nothing like that. We were just immediately welcome to Elbath. So it's true. Giants had changed their ways. And then as the more you read, you learn it was King Harold's dream to marry Ida, which we already knew, and taking her traveling all across the world once they had achieved their dream. That was his goal. But then she died. In that moment, right in front of her, before they could touch hands one more time. All King Harold wanted to do was marry Ida and welcome giants into society. And all Ida wanted to do was just be by King Harold's side and with both her sons, Harjwin and Loki. It really hit me in the feels reading that. But I love that all her boys were there and they were all hurt by this incident, including Loki, because she was the only mother he had. Loki was locked up in prison because he, destroyed that village. They don't know why he destroyed that village, and Loki probably didn't tell him that they poisoned his mother because he didn't want King Harold to retaliate. He wanted King Harold to continue his dream. And he probably didn't tell Harjwin they did because Harjwin probably called him a liar, but Loki was like, I took care of it. That's my mother too. But I like that we get to see a panel of all of them, there. And then 1 year later, just 14 years ago, Shanks left Marios to possibly become a pirate, to possibly start the Redhead Pirate Crew. We know all of this to possibly be true because Shanks is currently the emperor, the 4th Emperor of the Sea, or 5th Emperor of the Sea. And also that King Harold rose up to become a holy knight in his place, finally hoping to take Elbath and make it free at last. Because Shanks left Marios, they're like, hey, there's an open spot in the Holy Knights. King Harold, the spot's yours. But again, we know Emu's evil ass had plans for him. And what's truly amazing is that King Harold not only saw Emu's face, but this is where he sees it. He witnesses Emu sitting on the throne of kings, the empty throne, the throne that no one's supposed to be sitting on. And he was like, no one's supposed to be sitting there because you claim yourself as king of the world if you do, and no one's supposed to be king of the world. So, I mean, he ain't say that to Emu because he realizes if I say something, I'm gonna lose my spot. I'm gonna lose what all the hard work I've done for Elbath. And it's been 1,000 years, but I've already made it there in just a few half century to get to this point. I can't go back. But yeah, no one's supposed to be sitting on that throne. This is crazy that someone's sitting on that throne. And then we see that King Harold got the mark on his left arm. And that's when something my best friend told me clicked in my head. Chapters ago, when Shanks was chilling on Elbath with Scopper Gabbin in the bath and Shamrocks had teleported into the castle, my best friend said the reason why Shanks got his arm cut off is because it had the mark of Emu on it. Shanks let himself get his arm bitten off because Emu can't control him, and here's the proof. This power did not come with no cost. In return for becoming a holy knight and swearing your allegiance to Emu, he told him you have to go back home and create an abyss in Elbath. This will be your final task. You do this, and giants are welcome to society. And King Harold was like, an abyss? Okay, sure, whatever, I don't care. Okay, I'll believe you.
I can make you stronger if I enter your body, and I will surely not possess you.
Okay, I believe you.
I can make you stronger if I stab you with this blade.
Okay, I believe you. Boom.
He didn't know what that was. I wouldn't know what the fuck that was. Creating an abyss in Elbath. Okay, that's my final task, and I'm done. Okay, yeah, abyss. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. I don't care. Let's do it. But then King Harold learned the hard way. The same way Rox tried to warn his ass before his death, Rox had told him, Harold, Emu, the world government, they're lying to you. Don't listen to them. And King Harold was like, nah, fuck that shit. I ain't believing you. Emu demands that Elbath become warriors for Emu, ones that can rival the Marines, ones that can be his own personal army, and fight for him. Now, if King Harold had continued raising an army of giants that would fight, yeah, he would have been cool with that. But because King Harold was like, no, we're peaceful giants now. We're done beyond that. I want to cut away peace. This is what Ida wanted. This is what I want. This is what I want for my children. It was her dying dreams. And he was like, nah, bruh, you signed that contract. You do what I say. And all of a sudden, that mark on his arm is dragging him towards the Omni Circle. He was about to become the same way that Rox was, an Omniverse demon, the same way that Doggy and Bori are. He's like, oh no, you are my holy knight. You're my devoted blade. You coming to me. And we learn the truth. King Harold demanded his men, get in here, stop me at all costs, kill me, get my sons Harju and Loki, tell them to get here now, you have to stop me, I can't control myself. I was like, holy shit. Oh, he also asked for King Jarrell, which we know Loki stabs a sword into his head. And the truth was revealed. King Harold asked to be killed because it was the only way to stop him from becoming an Omni Demon that none of them would have been able to stop. Maybe Harjuan and Loki at the same time? Maybe. But while he's still human, while he's still in control of himself, he's like, kill me now, all of you. All 100 guards, kill me now. And we know that Loki was called. So that's the part that Loki didn't know about. Loki walked in after seeing his father died. Harjuan found out after his father died that Loki had went in there and killed all those men, and that his father's dead body was there. It was a huge misunderstanding that no one had no idea what was going on. King Harold did not know that mark would make him be controlled like a puppet. He had no idea what an abyss meant, which basically meant making those giants evil demon monsters for Emu. Harjuan had no idea about any of this. It's insane circle. But there's still one last thing we don't know about. Someone came into Elbath that same night and stole a devil fruit. What devil fruit was it? That's the other question. Anyways, guys, that's all for this video. I don't drag this out for too much longer. What did you think about these reveals? It's crazy. And also, this confirms that, yes, that's why Shanks let his arm get bitten off. Because Shanks knew, if I got this mark, I'm going to be controlled by evil. So he got rid of his left arm. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, I'll see you guys next video. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado, the Legendary Conjuring Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So, if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.